Early those of 96 K-Rock and the Beasley Broadcast Group.
Get off the ledge! Get off the ledge! This country should have hell been going down the drain.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. Why should you want to know? Don't you mind about the future?
And now, live, unedited, unrehearsed, and unapologetic, brought to you by Imperial Fire Alarm and Security, securing your world. Straight off the ledge, it's JD and Smitty!
This is the Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty on 96 K-Rock. Phone lines are open, 277 or 775-9600. Catch us streaming live video on theledgeradioshow.com. Check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/The Ledge Radio Show. What's up, Smitty?
What's going on, Wild World? Tell me what's happening.
Well, this morning we're proud to present U.S. congressional candidate Gary Aubuchon in studio. Mr. Aubuchon, thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
So what's new in your world? We know you're running for the is it the District 14 or 19? I know things are changing.
They are changing. It was Congressional District 14 with Connie Mack, and due to redistricting, it'll now be Congressional District 19.
And what does that district cover? What part of the state are we covering in this district?
Almost all of Lee County, except for the northeastern portion of Lee, and then Collier County all the way down to Marco Island on the west side of I-75.
Now, when it comes to the primary that's coming up and the voters that are involved, are you only on the ticket for the voters in that, in those areas that only they can vote for you, or how does that work?
That's correct. Just people who live within the congressional district can vote.
All right. And what have you been doing up to this point? I mean, I know that you're is it called a state rep? Is that what they consider you?
State representative, yes.
Okay. And what kind of what things do you get involved with at the state level? Are you kind of like being a congressman or a senator at the state level? But when you transition, to...
He just wants to know if you do anything, Gary. That's all. Just ask him. Do you do anything, Gary? I mean, tell us. Do you do anything?
Well, my background is really as a business person. I've been in business in Southwest Florida for 28 years. And in 2006, I was appointed to be a state representative, kind of plucked from the business world without prior political experience.
Who plucked you?
Actually, good question. It was the... Republican Party chairman of Lee County and the state committee man and state committee woman. It was to fulfill a vacancy when Charlie Crist picked then State Representative Jeff Kottkamp to be his lieutenant governor. And so I was appointed to fulfill that vacancy, and then I've run twice.
So you slid right in the back door, huh?
Slid right in the back door.
Okay, Gary.
Been reelected twice since.
Okay.
How'd they get your name from the business world? I mean, was it you're on some committees, you're kind of well versed with the the current political system, or?
Well, there were 11 people at the time in 2006 who put their name in for consideration for the appointment. I had been very involved in the business world, of course, but also in the community. I had either chaired or was a president of a number of different organizations in town and had been very involved in the nonprofit world. So I was well known throughout the community and went through the process, and it was as I mentioned, these were political folks that made the appointment, and I had not been a political person. I was a little
not a county commissioner, a mayor, nothing like that before.
Did you build houses or something? Was that?
I did. I came from Michigan in 1984. Went into the real estate business.
That's a good place to be from.
Spartan. That's right. And what was unique about that is most people from Michigan came to Florida to retire, and I came to Florida actually to start a career. First in real estate, and then I, in 1992, started a home building business in the living room and dining room of my home. And today, 20 years later, between our business and real estate company, we employ about 100 people directly in Southwest Florida and several hundred indirectly through our subcontractor base.
So you're still in business?
Absolutely.
How will that affect, if you're elected to Congress? How will that affect you, and what effect will that have on your business? I mean, do you see any kind of conflict of interest there if you've got real estate and/or construction business, and you're also your local congressman? I mean, is there any kind of conflict of interest there?
Well, when I became a state representative, the primary difference between the state representative position and a federal position is a federal position is full-time. Our state has, by its constitution, only has the legislature convene for 60 days. So we're a citizen-led legislature expected to be involved in work, in community, and in business.
So you're at home most of the time as a state rep.
As a state rep, and the transition to a federal position, should the voters elect me, then I will have to give up my daily involvement in business.
When you say give it up, does that mean you're
conflict of interest?
Well, does that mean your wife then becomes the president?
No, I have several partners.
She's the president now.
Yeah,
he just doesn't know it.
That's for the minority status. Yeah. He gets all the good government jobs.
Exactly.
Sweet.
Yeah. But so I would have to give up daily operation in the business. I would have to give up my paycheck in the business. So
we'll take that paycheck, by the way.
Well, and you know, that was actually one of the considerations, because going
giving us your paycheck
to serve, yeah, right, to serve in Congress would actually be, you know, a pay cut for me. And unlike some of the other folks in this race,
until you get hooked up,
you get all them kickbacks, man. I mean, that's where the real money is. When you get into Congress at a federal level and you get oil companies throwing money at you,
that's what I'm talking about.
You make $1 million quick over there.
Yeah, Walmart will be the shame.
Look, you're smiling.
Walmart will be the shame when you get in there.
He just can't wait to get in. He's like, man, the lottery is coming.
It's either Walmart or this one, you know.
So that wasn't a consideration. You don't think you're going to go there to get rich?
I don't think I'm going there to get rich. You know, our founding forefathers, I think, when they created our federal government, envisioned service with sacrifice, and I think that principle's been lost.
Absolutely, I agree there.
Yeah. What, you know, there's a taxpayer protection pledge that's out there, and it's been talked about that, you know, you didn't want to sign the pledge. Why not?
Good question. The pledge that I have made as a state representative is a pledge to uphold the Constitution, and that's both the Florida Constitution and the United States Constitution. And my pledge is to the voters of Southwest Florida, to the constituents here in Southwest Florida. There are a myriad of special interest groups, Washington-based, Tallahassee-based, that try to get you to sign their pledge to advocate for their position. And when you do so, you really abdicate your ability to represent your constituents. I don't believe you need to sign a tax pledge to prove that you're a fiscal conservative. I have balanced a budget 6 times in the state of Florida without raising taxes, and have voted for 35 tax decreases over my 6 years here in Florida.
Have you ever had to vote for a tax increase?
The only tax increase that we had to vote for a couple of years ago, and it was interesting because as politics works, it was called a user fee. But was on cigarettes, when cigarettes went up $1 a pack. And the rationale behind that increase was that the cost to the state, and therefore the taxpayers, to smoking-related illness through the Medicaid program was running about $1.6 billion a year. And so non-smokers were subsidized smokers' ailments at the state level. Raising the taxes $1 a pack picked up about $1 billion of that dollars. So there's still some subsidy going on for smoking-related illnesses by non-smokers, but smokers are now picking up a bigger portion of that cost.
Now, you mentioned, you know, that a lot of times the words are, you know, it's just kind of semantics, whether it's a tax or it's an increased fee at the, you know, state level. But, you know, one would charge that, you know, an increased fee is essentially a tax. You know, what about the there's a House Bill 5011, Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles, where we increased, you know, or attempted to increase fees and charges for reinstatement of driver's license, certificates of title, registration of motor vehicle, license plates, validation decals, and so forth. Did you ever vote to increase, you know, to approve that bill?
I did.
Increase the fees?
I did, and here's why. Those fees had not changed since the 1980s. And we applied a cost of living multiplier to the fees to determine what they should have actually been charging. In other words, once again, general revenue was subsidizing a direct fee for service. So the cost of a driver's license or the cost of a license plate wasn't being properly charged in order to cover the government's cost of that. So we raised the fees to cover the cost.
Okay. Now, you mentioned subsidizing, and I've heard that term before, specifically when it comes to things like high-speed rail. You know, you've got. I saw the paperwork on it, saw the actual dollar figure. on the East Coast, they've got a rail that anytime a passenger is on the train, ends up costing a taxpayer over $100 for them to ride the train, because that's the actual cost that the customer should have paid to get on the train. But had we had to charge that much to put them on the train, they'd never ride the train. So the taxpayers have to subsidize the ticket. They don't know they're subsidizing the ticket, but is that something the government should be involved in? Is subsidizing things like that?
Well, I don't think you're talking about high-speed rail. I think you're talking about Tri-Rail, which is a commuter rail system over in the Miami-Dade area, and that particular rail system has not been very effectively managed. There is a new rail system coming to Central Florida called SunRail, which is a commuter rail system that we learned lessons, and I say we, the state legislature. Tri-Rail was approved back in the late 1980s, early 1990s, and the state was left on the hook for some of those costs of subsidizing ridership. In the SunRail system, the new rail that will be coming to Central Florida, the responsibility is strictly on the region. So it was up to the folks in the region, the 4 counties that the rail goes through, to determine how to make that rail more cost effective.
Where's that going to run from?
It's going to run from DeLand to Point Siena. It parallels the I-4 corridor. It's about a $2.8 billion project over 30 years, and that includes the cost of rider subsidy, compared with adding an additional lane onto I-4 in that same 61-mile track would have been about $6 to $7 billion. So in the case of rail there, it was a more cost-effective way than simply laying down more asphalt to move workers from the suburbs into the city of Orlando.
So they scrapped the rail that was supposed to go from Tampa all the way to Orlando.
Right. That was a high-speed rail project.
Rail.
That's
now
the one
that
caught so much attention in the media.
Well, I've kind of heard the term high-speed and this new SunRail kind of interchangeably. Is that just a wording
bait
issue?
and switch? Is that bait and switch?
Yeah, really. Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, the reason you're hearing it interchangeably is one of my opponents in this race is trying to suggest that I was a proponent of high-speed rail, and it's simply not true. He suggests that I actually voted for high-speed rail, and high-speed rail was never voted on by the legislature.
Who said that? Who's the opponent that said that?
Trey Radel.
Trey? Oh.
And he put it on that fake website he created a few weeks ago.
Dum, 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 dum.
Which he's now giving it back, right?
He's given the domain names back to us. In other words,
so now you can have the stuff that he gave back to you and put stuff about him on his own website.
Well,
what a great idea!
Yeah. It's we're not gonna devolve into that.
Well, I tell you what. Now, when it comes now with this new, and it's called SunRail, right? The one from DeLand.
Yes.
Is this one going to be? It seems like it's same cost factor as that high-speed rail. It was around 2.6, 2.3, 2.8 billion. But what's going to make this one more cost-effective? And in the long run, I mean,
where's it running to? Is it going to have any efficiency though? I mean, it's just going to be
Yeah, I mean, the reason this particular project holds great promise is severalfold. One, it's a commuter rail system. The high-speed rail, the big question that was always out there is who's going to ride it? Why would somebody want to get on a train to go from Tampa to Miami? That's not. Well,
I can see that as opposed to go to DeLand.
Tampa to Orlando.
Tampa to Orlando, not to Miami. Ultimately, the idea was to bring it down to Miami.
Right.
But the commuter rail system is designed to move workers. And us from Southwest Florida, if somebody asks you, how long does it take to get to Orlando? Mm-hmm. I think the appropriate answer, well, that depends on traffic on I-4.
Yeah.
I-4,
depends on construction on I-4. It's been under construction for like 50 years.
So the reason it's so difficult to move through the I-4 corridor is because of the commuter traffic. So you take the commuter traffic off the road and you put it on the train.
We have 277-9600 or 775-9600 if anybody wants to call in. And
this is the Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty, and we've got
so many questions.
U.S. Congressional candidate Gary Aubuchon in studio. If you got any questions for Mr. Aubuchon, feel free to give us a call. And back on that though. And speaking about the SunRail, so you'd mentioned that the folks in that region, it's up to them. If this thing goes sour, they're stuck with the cost?
Yes. In other words, the state of Florida is divided into several transportation districts. Okay. So the people in Southwest Florida have no cost bearing on what happens in Central Florida. But in the Central Florida district, the dollars that go to all their transportation projects, some of those dollars are going to the Sunrail project. In 7 years, the entire cost of that project will be borne entirely by that region.
So they're gonna fit the bill. It's not coming from the rest of the state's taxpayers' money, is what you're saying?
That's correct.
Who benefits from this the most, though? There's got to be a company somewhere that's rallying this cry and saying, hey, let's put this thing in because we're going to benefit.
I mean,
it's the businesses in downtown Orlando. They have 2 very large hospitals and a number of businesses. The idea is
we're going to be shipping people to the hospital if they got emergencies?
From DeLand.
The workers.
The workers. And it's not going to be high speed.
It is not high speed. It's commuter.
So it'll be more efficient because they're
buggy.
moving slower to get there. What kind of speed is a commuter train versus the high-speed rail that was going to move people too?
High speed is over 100 miles an hour. Commuter is less.
Okay.
So you can always ride your car from DeLand just as fast.
I guess you could. All right. Well, I guess it's up to those folks up there to lose their money because I think there was like 3. I remember seeing a report where only like 3 train. Not even companies, train tracks in the country were actually making money. Everything else was just kind of losing money. So good luck to them, man. I don't know. It sounds awful like the high-speed rail to me, other than now this one's slower and it costs about the same, but we're going to put the burden on those folks. If they do go belly up, is the state just going to walk away from it?
The real question is, what is the most cost-effective way to move people? That's the question. If you're a fiscal conservative, you look at the numbers, and the cost of moving people through this one highly dense corridor was half as much moving them by train, including subsidy, as it is trying to widen I-4. You can't just always, in dense urban areas, add more lane to expressways.
That's true. You got buildings on each side. I mean, they got to have some kind of frontage, right?
That's right. So it's not appropriate everywhere. It's absolutely not, and I agree with that.
Maybe you can get the people that are going to benefit from it actually help pay for it a little bit.
Well, that's where it's coming from. Those the 5 counties, right?
Walt Disney, and
And what's the key to making it successful? And then we'll certainly be willing to talk about some other things as well. But
absolutely.
The key to making it successful is the development around the rail stations and how convenient it is. It has to be convenient. It has to be reliable.
Well, that's up for debate. I mean, obviously, there's a big difference of opinion between certain folks on one side or the other. We're going to go to break. When we come back, we've got U.S. congressional candidate Gary Aubuchon in studio. We'll be right back.
By combining the goals of sport, science, and conservation, the 3rd annual Guy Harvey Ultimate Shark Challenge Tournament and Festival delivers the most electrifying big game competition in shark fishing history. Teams will compete for over $10,000 in cash and prizes, live on camera for thousands of cheering spectators. Team entry still available, so secure your spot now. For fans and the general public, be sure to bring the entire family for a free 3-day companion festival at Lashley Crab House and Park in Punta Gorda, Florida, May 4th, 5th, and 6th. Witness the exciting live shark release fishing action on the stadium-sized Jumbotron and festival main stage hosted by the Shark Brothers. And all weekend long, enjoy free entertainment and interactive exhibits, including the Mobile Aquarium, Kid Shark Tooth and Fossil Hunt, Jaws movie prop collection, the Celebrity Shark Cave, fishing seminar, double feature movie night under the stars, and a live concert. Portion of the event proceeds will support the Wounded Warrior Project. For more information, visit UltimateSharkChallenge.com. This live event is presented by Budweiser and produced by Think Out Loud Productions.
If you're a boat enthusiast, then you know just how much fun boating can be. Whether you're fishing in the Gulf or just taking in the beautiful sights that can only be seen from a boat, there's nothing quite like it. Boat owners also know that it takes time to maintain that boat. So when it comes to cleaning, detailing, and restoration, Summer Jade is on board for you. Summer Jade specializes in full-service detailing. They also offer teak restoration, underwater hull cleaning, and hull painting. It doesn't matter if you have a small boat or a large yacht. They do the job with quality results. Summer Jade is family-owned and operated, serving Lee County and the surrounding areas. And best of all, their rates can't be beat. Call today and ask for Eric. He has some great promotional rates, some as low as $11 per foot.
I'm Eric Naylor, the owner of Summer Jade. Our rates are unbeatable. Call me at 239-878-6947. That's 878-6947. In Florida, it's summer every day.
Summertime.
And the boating is easy.
When it comes to finding a reliable general contractor, you need to pick someone with a solid background and a good reputation. D-Squared Construction gives you all that and more. They are family owned and operated and stand behind every project. Quality workmanship and satisfaction to the customer has made them one of the premier contractors in Southwest Florida since 2004. Small residential renovations to large commercial projects, they do it all, and they do it all well. Your projects are much too important to trust just anyone. D Squared Construction will come to your house or commercial project and give you a free on-site estimate. Call Cav and Dwyer at 239-561-4108. That's 239-561-4108 for a free consultation and some good sound advice. They won't waste your time or your money. D Squared Construction, when it needs to get done right.
What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. Why should you want to know? Don't you mind about the future?
Welcome back to Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty on 96K Rock. The phone numbers are 277 or 775-9600. Check out our live stream at theledgeradioshow.com. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/The Ledge Radio Show. And in studio this morning, we've got U.S. congressional candidate Gary Aubuchon. Mr. Aubuchon, welcome back. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
I've got a question. It's a question I asked Chauncey Goss last week, and he dodged it big time. Bigger than crab. When it comes to
is that a technical term?
Yeah, bigger than crab. You know, when you're running, I mean, this is a polarizing campaign overall, just like the 2010 elections were. You know, there was a big stance from the Tea Party on one side. You know, then you got the leftists over there doing whatever they're doing. Where do you stand? Would you consider yourself, and I heard you mention the term earlier, fiscal conservative? Is that where you're at? Are you as conservative as say the Tea Party would like you to be, or are you somewhere in the middle, or where do you rate yourself?
Well, I'm definitely a conservative, and my voting record indicates that. As I mentioned earlier, voted for 35 times to reduce taxes. The budget today is billions of dollars less than when I came into office. I have a 100% pro-life voting record, so my conservative credentials are well known.
Well, that's excellent. I mean, that's something that certain candidates are afraid to say. They feel like they're going to isolate certain voters, and that's a shame because you've got to stand for something, and you got to put it out there. And as long as you're not afraid to put it out there, we're happy to have you. Happy to have a good a good campaign for the Conservative Party. Well, I call it the Conservative Party. It's the Republican Party, but we've got to return back to constitutional conservatives in order to save this country. And if you're elected, and you're up there in Washington trying to help us, what's your first goal when you get into office? What's the first thing you're going to do?
Well, three things. One
besides throw a big party.
Yeah, right.
With a GSA?
The three things. The first would be to propose a balanced budget amendment. I saw how effective having a constitutional requirement to balance the budget is here in the state of Florida, and we need it in Washington.
Absolutely.
And I would go as far as to withhold congressional pay until Congress passes a balanced budget.
Are you for term limits?
I am for term limits. I supported them and voted for them in the House. I would support them in Washington as well. And to, again, emphasize the need to eliminate the concept of a career politician in Washington, I would also advocate for the elimination of pensions for people in Congress.
Well, that's a plus. I mean, that's something that we're looking at, and
you're not going to be liked a whole lot up there. I'm just going to let you know.
Well, I mentioned it. I mentioned before we got on the air that I believe our founding fathers believed in service with sacrifice, and I think sometimes people go to Washington and forget about the sacrifice part. And what really concerns me is that people go to Washington, and because of their pensions and their longevity, they actually leave Washington better off than when they went in, and I don't believe that's the way it should be.
Would you become a lobbyist then?
No, I wouldn't become a lobbyist.
That seems like a great transition point for a lot of politicians.
They all do it.
Whenever they leave office, they become a lobbyist.
Yes, they do.
It keeps the money flow going.
Yeah.
Keeps that.
Sure.
Keeps them invited to the GSA parties.
Yeah, it keeps them in somewhere. All right.
Now, as a home builder now, have you ever done any work for the? I don't guess you would do anything work for the government though when it comes to government contracts or anything like that.
No.
You ever done any commercial or anything like that?
No, we're a single family residential home builder.
Okay.
Did you have any problem with the Chinese drywall stuff? I heard something. I didn't know what it was, but I know your name was not your personal name, but your company was named.
He was out there installing himself, wasn't he?
We did. We got caught in that same mess that many of the builders in Southwest Florida did. The one thing we did is we didn't run from the problem. We a lot of companies changed names and closed.
So you try to go on the cheap and get the cheap drywall and see what happens. You didn't get the American-made drywall. You should have got the stuff made in America, not in China.
It wasn't. It was they ran out.
It was conservative.
They ran out of drywall. They ran out of good drywall, and
no drywall in the United States. Wow,
it was out.
That's amazing.
It was gone. Was it not gone?
It's
wow.
right. As a result of the hurricanes of 04 and 05.
So China's the only place in the world we had drywall. That's amazing. That's a good stat.
They're a big country. They make a lot of crap.
They
over
certainly
there,
make a lot of crap. You said that right.
And the good news is that that Judge Fallon, who is overseeing the multi-district litigation case in New Orleans, where all the drywall cases were consolidated, has done something that no single builder could do, and that was apply pressure on the manufacturers in China to do the right thing and make up for it. And we're very close to a national resolution on this thing, where everybody involved is contributing something, with the manufacturer contributing the most.
You know, something with that Chinese drywall, you know, that all kind of hit at the same time that the housing bubble burst. And it was like the people that were already underwater, now they're stuck in a home that they can't be in. They got small children. You got this Chinese drywall fungus floating around in the house. It's eating up all the appliances, all the wiring. Then they can't even get out of their houses. I mean, only certain, and I guess maybe it was some of the larger reputable builders would actually come back in once it was discovered, once it was brought out in the open, and they would remediate the house, maybe move the folks out to another location. But a lot of people got stuck with this. I mean, you know, how soon before we see an actual resolution?
We're hoping this year that this year it'll be finalized. It's in the hands of Judge Fallon, who is overseeing everything. But you're right. I mean, it was an awful situation, and it couldn't have come at a worse time, either for homeowners or for home builders.
And what happens to the folks that had to leave their home? They've left them. They were upside down. They said, "Man, I'm already upside down in my home. I got to get out of this thing because of the Chinese drywall." So they walk away from their home for two reasons. What happens when this thing gets all resolved? Is there any recourse for the folks that left their home for that issue?
That remains to be seen.
Simple answer is no. It's no. I'll make it easy for Gary here. No.
Well, I don't know.
Ask him about when we were on break. He was talking about Florida being one of the number 1 or 2 states for businesses.
Well, that was good.
That was an interesting stat.
Yeah,
I don't know where you got that stat, but
recently one of the national publications released that Florida was number 2 in the country for as rated by CEOs of corporations across America as the number 2 place to do business, second to only Texas. Governor Scott has indicated to Governor Perry over in Texas that we don't intend to be number 2 for long. So we're making strides, and one of the ways we've done that is, as we were talking earlier, we've reduced the tax burden in Florida. We've reduced the regulatory burden. 2 years ago, Speaker Dean Cannon appointed me to vice chair a committee on government reorganization. And one of the things we did is we took the Agency for Workforce Innovation, the Office of Tourism, Trade, and Economic Development, and the Department of Community Affairs, and combine them to make them much more efficient into a single agency called the Department of Economic Opportunity, with the idea that we can respond quicker to business that wants to relocate to our state or expand within our state.
What's the unemployment rate in Florida? Do you know what it is?
It's 9% in Florida, and
I heard it was 4% in Nebraska yesterday. I was watching the news.
We're still above the national average, but we are making significant gains. We've added a lot of jobs. In fact, in Florida right now, we're creating jobs at twice the national rate. So it won't be long before we are lower than the national rate. And the good news for Southwest Florida—
Are they low-end jobs, you know, the $8 an hour Walmart jobs, or are they something that people can actually live off of?
It's across the spectrum, and part of what the Department of Economic Opportunity is doing is diversifying our economy. So we're bringing in more high-wage, high-skilled jobs.
Now, would you think that the reason why Florida is only number 2 is it just possibly because Texas is so large that they've got a more diverse area for businesses to move to, a lot of some larger cities that they can come to that are maybe more manufacturing friendly, or is it just that we just haven't caught up to Texas?
We don't
yet?
have enough oil. That's all.
Well, that
Texas
could be
has a lot of oil.
We do have oil here. There's oil rigs out in Lehigh. They're pumping them right out of the orange groves. I mean, they're small, but we got them.
I can go up there and turn the nozzle and get some oil, huh?
Maybe just for your lawnmower or something.
I
don't know.
I love it, man.
I mean, what is that? Is that why, or is it just because we haven't implemented some of the extreme that maybe Governor Perry's gotten to for getting business here? And I mean extreme as a good, in a good way.
Well, Texas clearly has a larger industrial base than Florida does, but we've only had about 18 months of Rick Scott.
True.
And his policies, where Governor Perry's been in place longer in Texas. And so Rick Scott campaigned on creating more jobs. The Florida House and Florida Senate have supported his initiatives, and we're working to make Florida the #1 place to do business, not only in the United States but in the world.
How do you like working with Governor Scott?
I like him. He is he you know what's really refreshing about Governor Scott is he is governing exactly as he campaigned.
That's true.
What he said he was going to do is what he's done, and as a congressional candidate, I intend to do the same thing.
You know, one flub that I see possibly coming, and it was in the national media, and I hated it for him because I'm a big Rick Scott supporter, was when he appointed the special prosecutor in the Trayvon Martin shooting, and it looks like she jumped all over, you know, like she was appointed basically to go after Zimmerman, despite the fact that, you know, when she came up with this second-degree murder charge, that there may not be enough evidence there to actually, you know, to actually convict on that. And if that goes wrong, if that goes bad, I mean, we're looking at, you know, riots, and I mean it could be nasty. And I know that the left-wing media is going to point fingers at Governor Scott and say, well, this is the prosecutor he chose. I mean. Well,
I think we need to let that play out. I think we need to let justice, the judicial system work, and I'm okay with what Governor Scott has done, both in terms of appointing the special prosecutor as well as is convening a task force in Tallahassee under Lieutenant Governor Jennifer Carroll to take a look at that.
You support gun rights?
Absolutely.
Right, just want to make sure.
I don't know if you're familiar with it, and I'll get to it in just a second. This is the Les Radio Show with JD and Smitty on 96 K-Rock.
277-9600 or 775-9600.
Thank you, Smitty. There's a group out there, you may have heard of them. The name is called GOOH, G-O-O-O-H, and they're going to be holding a forum here coming up pretty soon. And they sent me an early release of some of the questions that you and the other candidates are going to get to answer. And I just wanted to highlight one or two of them and see if you're allowed to answer some of this prior to getting into the debate. One of the biggest ones right now: will you vote for or against a national health care system funded with tax dollars and controlled by the federal government that provides health care to every American citizen?
Against.
You got my vote. That's the biggest thing, man. I mean, when you get to Washington.
What is the big, look, this health care thing is getting kicked back like a can. The Democrats want it, the Republicans don't. And somewhere in the middle, like I believe most Americans are, they want something, because let's face it, the insurance companies in the past have ran the whole gambit on this thing. They got every rule going their way. If you have health insurance like I do now, it's itemized to the max. I remember the day you go and you throw your card, you walked out, you paid $20 and that was it. Nowadays it's such a mess, and it's gotten to this over time. It hasn't happened overnight. This has happened back from 1970 almost up to now, and now we've got a major issue. How do you fix it without pandering to one side or the other? Because I want it fixed, I know that. And I know you can't be free for everybody can't have free for everything for all the time. But at the same time, you can't expect the Republicans just to get their way and go, we're not going to give you anything because we're taken care of.
Well, they've got ideas. You're just not listening. You're looking at the wrong
I listen
websites.
to your ideas. Okay, your ideas is I like, and I'm happy. Goodbye.
Hey, I got to pay for crappy insurance too.
Yeah, I know. And you're happy about that?
No, not at all.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
If the Democrats in Congress and in the Senate would allow us to move forward with the conservative ideas.
But that's the same idea you got now. It's crappy ideas. So how can you say you like it? You say you like crap then. Okay.
Look, sit over there and be quiet.
I got it.
We got a caller on the line. Caller, you're on the Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty. Don't jump unless you're a liberal.
He likes crap.
And no, liberal isn't a verb for liberty.
He likes paying for
what you got? Go, buddy. Caller, are you there?
Hello?
Yes.
Speak on it, brother, man.
If Florida is to get to #1 for business and to remain #1 for business, how do you intend to make it that way while raping and pillaging the education budget?
All right, thanks, caller. We'll respond to that. Have a great day. So we're apparently raping and pillaging the education, but you mean the state indoctrination education budget? Is that the one, Mr. Aubuchon?
Well, in this past year, the state, under again Governor Scott's leadership, put $1 billion more state dollars into K through 12 education. But we've come out of some unprecedented times in the state of Florida. And the decision that we made and that I made as a conservative legislator wasn't to take more money from legislator, yes,
Yugoslavia,
out of your pockets to put somewhere else. We decided to live within our means, and in so doing, we're starting to see signs that the economy's coming back, that jobs are being created. And Florida, where the primary revenue comes from sales tax at the state level and property tax at the local level for education, as we create a stronger economy, there will be more dollars for education. But over the last few years, it's been tough for every sector that requires government money.
It seems to me, though, that whenever we just throw money at something like this, any state education system, you're just throwing money at it just to appease a group maybe. Someone says we need more money in education. It doesn't seem to help anything.
It doesn't revamp the system as it's designed as now.
It
like
makes
you said,
it more,
you just
more
throw money. Go, look, we're trying to do something.
Wait, you're agreeing with me?
Well, to a point. I'm all for paying teachers a livable wage. You just don't want to do that.
Well, I mean,
you think they can live off of $25,000 a year and be happy?
I don't think that's the median teacher income anymore. I mean,
I don't know what it is.
When I was in high school back in the '90s, I had my shop teacher made $70,000 a year because he'd been a teacher for 30 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's back in the 90s.
That's a little wrong, I believe.
Well,
let's take a quick call. We're going to put a guy on the line here right now. Go ahead.
Caller, you're on the Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty. What you got, buddy?
Yes. I was wondering that if the governor gives $1 billion to Florida education, then why is in Lee County we're $15 million short in the budget and they're laying people off left and right?
Well, thanks, caller. We'll respond to that. Is it possible that Lee County overspent? I mean, they've got to be responsible for their own budget. I mean, to me, when you're buying up land like there's no tomorrow and you're building schools, I mean, yeah, we got to have schools, but when we had the current legislation, is it still the same, Mr. Aubuchon, that you've got to have, we got that 18 student, maximum in the classrooms. When you've got something like that, you got to build a billion schools to fit all the kids in. So if Lee County's short, that's because they spent their money wrong.
Well, I'll come to the defense of the Lee County school system because I think they do a great job. I have 3 children, 2 of which are now graduates of the Lee County school system. One is in middle school, and I found their education that they received to be excellent. And the Lee County School Board has worked hard within limited resources to meet the needs here at the local level, and I think they're doing a great job.
One of the things I noticed for years, and we'll get to this caller in a second, when we went to this busing where we're busing kids 2 hours across town, I can't imagine the cost of that. And I haven't looked at it, but it's got to be astronomical for the gas that we're paying for these buses to get a kid from the Western Cape to Eastern Lehigh. I mean, that to me, that's just ridiculous. Community schools where you've actually got pride in your school and your local community, where you got maybe out in Lehigh or in Fort Myers at Green Wave, you got people living around the school with their Green Wave signs in the yard. You don't have that anymore because kids that are going to Fort Myers are coming from Estero.
Well, they addressed that a few years ago by creating 3 zones in Lee County. So you have an eastern, a western, and a central zone. So you don't have people going all the way across county anymore like we did just a few years ago. So that, again, is one proactive way in which the school district addressed that issue. But, the results are that Lee County is one of a handful of high-performing school districts in the entire state.
When you say high-performing, is that based on their grade, the A, the B, the C?
That's correct.
But isn't that based on the FCAT?
In part, but not entirely.
Not entirely. Okay.
We're pre-K, we're ranked last in the nation. So I don't know what great education system you're talking about.
Well, pre-K is not public education. Pre-K would be like at little daycares and VPK programs that are ran by private folks.
So they already start off crappy, and we get it.
I get it. Well, it needs to start with parenting. But we got another caller on the line. Caller, you're on the Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty. Don't jump. What you got, caller? You there?
Yeah, I'm there.
What you got, bud?
Got a question for you. Gary talks about health insurance and, trying to keep rates down and doing things for the community, yet he voted for a $15 million claims bill that basically Lee Memorial is going to have to pay out of pocket and, basically hurting the community. I'd like his comments on that.
All right, thanks, caller. Mr. Aubuchon, do you know what the caller is referring to?
Talking about the Aaron Edwards bill. Lee Memorial was found negligent in court, and the jury awarded a $31 million claim to Aaron Edwards. Lee Memorial appealed. It was upheld on appeal. A legislator in Southeast Florida filed a claims bill which allows for legislative grace in the case where a public entity has been negligent and has basically done something horrific. In the case of Aaron Edwards, that was the case. However, the $31 million claim I thought was excessive. I filed an amendment to the bill and reduced it to $10 million, and then it was later amended again on the floor of the House to 15.
Well, Mr. Aubuchon, we're coming up on a hard break here, and just want to say thanks for coming in. Where can the folks go to support you? Do you have a website set up where they can donate and learn a little bit more about you?
GaryAubuchon.com. That's AUBUCHON.
All right, very nice. Well, we appreciate having you in this morning, sir.
My pleasure. Thank you both.
Thanks for the
Take
abuse,
care.
man. Appreciate it.
Securing your family, your business, your property. That's what's important in your world. No matter how big, no matter how small, secure your world with Imperial Fire Alarm and Security today.
Imperial Fire Alarm and Security is a local company with hometown service, the way it should be. One call to Imperial will align you with the most effective fire alarm security and surveillance systems, as well as state-of-the-art wireless monitoring. If you're a property manager or condo association member, ask about Imperial's wireless monitoring systems to replace costly and unreliable phone lines and save your community thousands. From individual homes to large communities, Imperial Fire Alarm and Security can secure your world.
Don't you think it's time to secure your world? Imperial Fire Alarm and Security services Lee, Charlotte, and Collier counties. Learn more at imperialfiresecurity.com or to schedule your free consultation, call 239-288-6482. Secure your world at imperialfiresecurity.com.
License number EF2000046.
When it comes to finding a reliable general contractor, you need to pick someone with a solid background and a good reputation. D-Squared Construction gives you all that and more. They are family owned and operated and stand behind every project. Quality workmanship and satisfaction to the customer has made them one of the premier contractors in Southwest Florida since 2004. Small residential renovations to large commercial projects, they do it all, and they do it all well. Your projects are much too important to trust just anyone. D-Squared Construction will come to your house or commercial project and give you a free on-site estimate. Call Cav and Dwyer at 239-561-4108. That's 239-561-4108 for a free consultation and some good sound advice. They won't waste your time or your money. D-Squared Construction, when it needs to get done right.
If you're a boat enthusiast, then you know just how much fun boating can be. Whether you're fishing in the Gulf or just taking in the beautiful sights that can only be seen from a boat, there's nothing quite like it. Boat owners also know that it takes time to maintain that boat. So when it comes to cleaning, detailing, and restoration, Summer Jade is on board for you. Summer Jade specializes in full-service detailing. They also offer teak restoration, underwater hull cleaning, and hull painting. It doesn't matter if you have a small boat or a large yacht. They do the job with quality results. Summer Jade is family owned and operated, serving Lee County and the surrounding areas. And best of all, their rates can't be beat. Call today and ask for Eric. He has some great promotional rates, some as low as $11 per foot.
I'm Eric Naylor, the owner of Summer Jade. Our rates are unbeatable. Call me at 239-878-6947. That's 878-6947. In Florida, it's summer every day.
And the boating is easy.
What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. Why should you want to know? Don't you mind about the future?
And you should know. Welcome back to the Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty on 96 K-Rock. Phone numbers are 277 or 775-9600. Check us out on the live stream at theledgeradioshow.com. What you got, Smitty? I know you got something over there. You're looking under the evil eye.
I always have something for you. You know that.
Something stupid,
Nothing
I'm sure.
but love. I want to play something for you, actually. I want to get your feed on this and tell me what you think about this. Everybody, listen, this may change your life. It may change the way you think. And if you're listening to this right now on the radio, listen to this.
That's not my business. I don't want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone if possible. Jew, Gentile, black man, white. We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. We don't want to hate and despise one another. In this world, there's room for everyone, and the good earth is rich and can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful, but we have lost the way. Greed has poisoned men's souls.
Oh, Jesus.
Has barricaded the world with hate.
Jesus, don't do
Has
it.
goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed. We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. Our knowledge has made us cynical, our cleverness hard and unkind. We think too much and feel too little.
How long is this
More
crap?
than machinery, we need humanity.
Greatest speech in the world.
More than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent, and all will be lost. The aeroplane and the radio have brought us closer together.
Man, we only
The
got
very
10
nature
minutes
of
left.
these inventions cries out for the goodness in men, cries out for universal brotherhood, for the unity of us all. Even now, my voice is reaching millions throughout the world.
Is this Farrakhan?
Millions of despairing men, women, and little children, victims of a system that makes men torture and imprison innocent people. To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish.
I'm about to shoot myself.
Soldiers, don't give yourselves to brutes. Men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, and what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men, machine men with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines, you are not cattle, you are men. You have the love of humanity in your hearts. You don't hate, only the unloved hate, the unloved and the unnatural. Soldiers, don't fight for slavery, fight for liberty.
You snuck
In the
this thing in on
17th
me.
chapter of St. Luke it is written, the kingdom of God
get you
is
back
within
next
man,
week.
not one man nor a group of men, but in all men, in you. You,
What
the
movie is this
people,
from?
have the power. The
Learn
power to
and
create
listen.
machines, the power to create happiness.
These people are
You,
turning
the
off their
people,
radio.
have the power to make
They
this
love it.
life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Then in the name of democracy, let us use that power. Let us all unite. Let us
What is this?
fight
What
for
is
a
this
new
from?
world, a decent world that will give men a chance to work,
I don't know what
that
you're
will
doing
give
over
youth
there.
a future,
Do you
and old
understand
age a
this?
security.
This is gospel
By the promise of
almost.
these
Where's
things,
it from?
brutes
All right,
have
Mr.
risen
Producer,
to
cut
power.
this thing
but
off.
they lie.
What is this thing?
Did you like it or not?
I don't even know what it was.
Because you didn't listen to it. That's the
I'm
problem with
listening.
the Republicans. You don't listen. All you have is
Look, I'm
all
not
you have
gonna
is
judge.
blinders on.
I'm not gonna
shooting
judge.
everything you got, you want, you have, you don't like, and anybody else that thinks any other view is dismissed. Don't come around.
What was
Don't
it-
talk to me. I know what I want, and you want it too because I'll make you want it. That's
what
how
was it
you
from?
do things.
What was it from?
You look it up.
I'm not going to look that up. Tell me what it's from.
It was. You know what year that speech was?
No.
That was in 1940.
Okay, by who?
75 years. It was in a movie actually.
Okay.
It's called The Great Dictator.
Oh, really?
Yes, it was.
That was really relevant.
It was.
I appreciate that.
It was about social problems and how they can be solved.
With communism?
Did you hear any? He said democracy. Did you hear anything on there that said communism? It was
Hitler-
democracy.
Hitler talked about
but
democracy,
if you
too.
listen to it, you actually learn something.
Did he not? Did he not talk about democracy? Right? As soon as
You talking about communism? Are you communist?
As soon
Are
as-
you a communist? I'm asking you right now. You're a
You know
communist.
I'm not a
Well, then
communist.
why did you mention it?
Because you
Well,
know
you
for
talked
a
about
fact-
it. That
you
makes
know-
you a communist,
Are
right?
you going to let me talk?
No, because that's what you do to me.
I'll have to shut off his mic.
This is what he does to me every day.
See-
Just jams it down my throat. Oh, did you
You know-
like this? Because I like it. You know.
Hitler got into power talking about democracy.
What's not about Hitler?
All
This
right,
is about
anyway,
this country.
Anyway, let's move forward. Speaking of forward, did you see Obama's new forward slogan? Did you notice that?
No, I didn't see it.
That's the new. Instead of hope and change, now it's forward.
As opposed to backwards, like Bush had it.
That's fine. That's fine. But you know what? You know what forward stood for?
It stands for I care. That's what it stands for. That's what it stands for.
No. Did you know that?
Obamacare is better than I don't care. That's what I know.
Do you know that the forward slogan was actually from the Marxist era? Did you know that?
I'm sure it was coined somewhere in the world. Forward. I say forward all the time when I'm in traffic.
Forward was
so maybe he stole it from
Forward
me.
was code speak among
Oh,
Marxists.
so he's code,
And yet the
huh?
Obama administration has been scrubbing
Do you know
all
this-
references to the Marxist origins of the motto on its Wikipedia entry.
Do you know the secret handshake?
Is that the communist
That's the
handshake?
kind of secret handshake.
Letting the birds out. Letting the birds out.
Here's the Republican secret
Hey,
shake. Look, I'm going to show you something.
Shut up. Here's something you're going to like. Tax loophole pays out billions in tax credit to illegal aliens. Isn't that sweet?
That is not too sweet.
Well, here's the deal. Billions of dollars in tax credits are being paid out to illegal immigrants because of a certain undocumented worker tax loophole. And of course, it's all happening at the expense of the taxpayer.
Who passed that loophole?
Well,
Must have been Republicans. They wanted all the cheap labor. That's why.
oh, I'm sure they did.
As long as they can get $5 on an hour for
Well,
anybody picking tomatoes, they're
Here's
happy.
what the IRS says about it. Everyone who's employed in the U.S., even those who are working here illegally, must report income and pay taxes. Of course, they don't ever pay taxes.
They don't ever pay taxes.
But apparently, they can get a tax refund depending on how many dependents they put on their
That's right.
on their W-2 or whatever it is.
That's right.
And they can even claim, well, they're claiming their dependents that are still in Mexico.
Yes, and and I've spoken to a lot of those guys because we used to work down on Old 41. And
you mean Little Mexico?
Yeah, Little Mexico. And they actually would say that they plan on retiring back home. What they do is they live here, they work for 20, 25 years, get all their money.
Guess how much money they're getting back each year?
Go back to Mexico and don't even pay taxes.
Guess how much they get back?
Is this an average?
They're claiming 10 and 12 dependents. They're
wow.
getting 10, 11.
That's probably underrated.
10, 11.
20 of them.
Well, that's just what's in their van at the time.
That's
but
right.
They're getting 10, 11, 12 grand back every year.
And
they paid nothing in.
I had to pay this year, so I'm not happy.
Well, that's because you claimed wrong on your W-4.
No. It's because the rules were changed again,
Well, I tell you what, something else that was kind of cool. They got a new billboard campaign that compares belief in man-made global warming to murderers, tyrants, and madmen. Here's the picture. It's Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, on a billboard. Says, "I still believe in global warming. Do you?" Isn't that sweet?
He's a fine-looking chap, that Ted Kaczynski. I can tell you.
It's his mugshot photo. It looks like the cops beat the hell out of him.
It's hard to believe, but he's actually a genius. I mean, they said he went to like Harvard or someplace, MIT, and he was actually a genius.
Well,
and I read a bio on him. It said he was embarrassed in front. His teacher embarrassed him in school.
You are just full of frivolous information.
Well, it's worthful information. Okay.
Oh yeah, where were the Aztecs from?
Not in America.
Where was it?
Bolivia. Colombia.
Get a globe.
Nicaragua.
We need, Mr. Producer, we
South
got to get
America.
a globe in here for Smitty.
He's stuck on the Aztecs. He just won't let that go,
Hey, do you know that Barack Obama's first real girlfriend was a white chick?
No way.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
stunned.
Yeah, white chick.
Wow, man. He's just like the rappers.
But, he only touts his blackness at his black rallies and strayed from white roots in public.
Well, he's half white.
Except when it fits the agenda.
Well, he's a politician. Come on.
Well, this just came out, a photo of his have
you seen Louis Farrakhan?
Have I seen him?
Have you ever seen what he look like?
Yeah, he's
that man's
white.
got white blood in him, okay? I don't care how left-wing racial he is white-blooded somewhere. I don't know where. But he should go on that program where you can check your DNA.
The genealogy?
The roots, the genealogy root thing on TV with that guy.
Uh-huh.
And he should check and see how much percentage he's white and black, because he's definitely a little bit of white going on, a little bit of Oreo.
I appreciate the genealogy history from Farrakhan.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. That would be money.
This is the Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty on 96K Rock.
277-9600 or 775-9600. If you want to spew your interest, please call.
Did you, Smitty, did you check out the latest flag gaffe on Obama's new Julia site?
No.
Did you hear anything about the Julia site?
No.
This was
about a girl that
it was the fictional character named Julia that Obama used to portray how she could grow up healthy and vibrant under his rule versus how she would be downtrodden and just out in the street under Mitt Romney's rule. Well, one of the things on this website was when they show the picture of Julia near the podium, they've got the flag, the American flag, on the wrong side. And apparently under the state or the U.S. flag code.
Didn't they have that on the moon, the wrong side, too?
I don't know. It says, when displayed from the staff in a church or public auditorium, the flag of the United States should hold the position of superior prominence in advance of the audience and in the position of honor at the clergyman's or speaker's right as he faces the audience. Any other flag so displayed should be placed on the left of the clergyman or speaker or to the right of the audience. They got it reversed. You think it's just by mistake?
I think it's just by mistake. They've got other issues than where to put the freaking flag. You know what I mean? It's not some secret code, I don't think, that's going on. Like, hey, we'll put it on the other side. They'll never know. I don't know.
It could be another conspiracy, maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
No.
We'll see
know
what
how
happens.
much you love the president.
Let's see if after today, when he hears our show, because I know he's listening, because we're out there.
We're the bomb.
We're big. We're big.
Huge.
They'll split it over. Speaking of huge, we got to get Fusilla to come in
come
and
on, Billy.
advertise with us, man.
Bring yourself down here.
You just want to see Carolyn, don't you?
No, I
Caroline.
don't. No.
Well, how about the interview with Ted Turner? Did you hear about that?
I saw a little bit of it.
Yeah, he wants the UN to force nuclear disarmament of Israel, America, and everyone, because he just thinks that the world is just gonna be full of peace, love, and
maybe in about 3,000 years, but not anytime soon.
Well,
he's ahead of his time. He's always been ahead of his time. He's actually got a great bio. If you ever read it, it's pretty good. His history of what where he came from.
Well, this is what he said. I believe in total nuclear disarmament. That's the only way we're ever going to get there. We all got to play by the same set of rules. Oh yeah, it's better for us not to have an advantage. That's a great idea. What an idiot. Then we have 2,000. He says we have 2,000 nuclear weapons. Iran has none. It's okay for Israel to have 100, but it's not okay for Iran to have 2. Iran is it's a terrorist regime. You can't let them have nuclear weapons.
They already have them. It's too late.
Are you sure?
Yeah, sure. Sure they have them.
I think
Absolutely.
if they had them, they would have used them.
No, they have them. They just can't figure out how to launch them yet. I don't think they just got catapults with big nuclear balls.
Well, if that may be the case, because I don't know if you heard this. Netanyahu is holding elections early.
Spell that.
Netanyahu.
You're reading it, cheater.
Well, he didn't tell me how to read it, but he's holding early elections so he may be able to attack Iran.
Netanyahu?
Him too. Him too. I think he's his brother or something.
That's his brother.
But yeah, if he holds early elections, then he won't be wrapped up. He won't be wrapped up with the legislation, so he can possibly attack Iran before his hands are tied.
I'm still waiting for that to play out. That's going to be very interesting to see what happens over there in Israel and
Hey,
Iran.
one quick.
We only got 2 minutes to make it quick.
I know. One quick thing about for sports.
Yeah.
Did you hear about the? No, that was sad. That was sad. But yeah, that's not it. Did you hear about the columnist that suggests the basketball team Brooklyn Nets to be renamed the New York Knitting?
Nice.
He did.
Nice. Well, he was just being funny and facetious, obviously.
I don't know.
Don't forget it's a special day. You didn't want to mention it, Cinco de Mayo. I mentioned it for you because I know you love it so much.
Jeez. What
actually, it's the running of the roses today.
What's the Cinco de Mayo stand for, Steve?
5.
That's great. You know
May
what the
5th.
backstory
That's
was?
May 5th.
You know what the backstory was?
Yeah, I know. It's something about they won a war and everything. So, but I'm gonna go watch the running of the horses today at the Kentucky Derby. Kentucky Derby.
Big horse race today.
Big horse race. First crown of the Triple Crown. Second race is going to be at the Preakness in Baltimore, and the third one's in Belmont, up in New York City. So if you like the horses, launch the ponies, and put some money down, it's still legal, thank goodness, and go down there and have a good time.
Now, is it and it's legal locally too at the racetrack?
Yeah, you can go down the racetrack. That's what I'm saying. Go down there and.
Have you ever been in there?
Yeah, I have. It's not so bad.
Kind of smoky in there.
Well, it is a gambling hall.
I mean, it's like you can't even breathe.
Yeah.
Man, that's rough. I'm not going to comment. I would like to see them allow more gambling options at the dog track. I mean, it's kind of limited
off-track
right
betting.
now.
Need some OTBs, off-track betting, little parlors, so we can go and place your bet. That's what they have in some of those other states.
Where do they put them in?
Little
gas
kiosks and
stations
stuff, and little buildings and stuff.
All right. Well, Smitty, it looks like we're getting the gaff here. It's time to go, folks. It's been a great show. Check us out next week. The Ledge Radio Show with JD and Smitty on 96 K-Rock.
Securing your family, your business, your property. That's what's important in your world. No matter how big, no matter